Hey guys, Drew here, back with another video, and in today's video, I will be dissecting who I think will be this year's 2024 Stanley Cup champions of the NHL. And who will make the finals, you may ask? Well, those two teams are the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. I went 1 for 2 in my predictions. I was cheering for both Rangers and Edmonton, so I could get my predictions pretty right. So I'm on 1 for 2, not too bad. Picked the Rangers over the Florida Panthers, which didn't end up working, but then Edmonton was able to get it over Dallas. And I did actually predict it would go to 6 or 7 games, and both series went to 6 games, actually. So we'll see what happens in the Stanley Cup Finals. We'll be doing a little talking here in this one, and who I think will be crowned the Stanley Cup champion. I will be doing some recaps during the Stanley Cup Finals of all the games that have been played, maybe 7, maybe 6, maybe 5, maybe 4. Who knows? We may see a sweep. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But it's going to be an interesting Stanley Cup Finals because these two teams, both stories, whoever wins this cup is going to be special. First of all, Florida never won a Stanley Cup before in their history. Not in the state actually though. Tampa has won plenty amount of trophies, while the Florida Panthers haven't won. They've been in the Stanley Cup Finals twice, but haven't been able to get the job done in both recently. Making the finals in 2023, being the underdogs and facing it off against the Vegas Golden Knights, but they unfortunately lost that series in 5 games. And then they played against the Colorado Avalanche when they won their first Stanley Cup back a while ago, and they actually got swept in that series. So the Panthers only have one playoff win in the Stanley Cup Finals. So we'll see how they face off against the Edmonton Oilers. I do think this is very evenly matched series. I mean, there isn't really a Stanley Cup Finals where it isn't, to be fair, but these two teams are going to play their hearts out in these series, and we'll see who can get the job done. Now, I'm going to be talking about the forward, defenseman, goaltending, who wins on that side. So, starting off at the forwards, I think we already know who's going to win there. Their star power in Edmonton: McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman. Warren Foegele may even count as the star, Evander Kane. Really good players for Edmonton. Corey Perry, no, I'm just kidding with you. But Corey Perry's a pretty good offensive player. He's been in the most Stanley Cup Finals representing each team. Well, representing the most teams in the NHL's history, actually. So pretty cool fact to know there about Corey Perry. He'll be probably playing a couple games and maybe able to hoist the Stanley Cup once again. Last time he hoisted it was actually back in 2007 with the Anaheim Ducks when they won their trophy. So we'll see what happens though. As Edmonton, I think definitely on the winning side of the forwards, as McDavid and Draisaitl basically just sums that up. Although on Florida, you do have some Selke winning trophy winners in Alexander Barkov. He's going to be definitely going to be leading the Panthers, as he has a C on a jersey for a reason, as he's a really good forward as well. But you got another goal scorer, great goal scorer in Sam Reinhart. He'll definitely be trying to light the lamp in this series, similar to what Hyman does. He's a good complementary player, but this year he's been on another level. So we'll see what he can do this series. Other forwards, Etu Lewis-Ryan's good, Anton Lundell once again, and I'm sure there's some other forwards that I'm missing here that just light the lamp every game. And now, on the defense, I think these are pretty evenly matched. I'm not gonna doubt about that. But Edmonton's defense, you have Bouchard, Darnell Nurse, Brett Kulak, Vinny Desharnais, although he may get scratched a couple nights, Cody Ceci as well, some other defensemen as well on Edmonton, Philip Broberg may get into some games. He's been playing some pretty solid hockey in the playoffs for a 5th overall pick, I believe, or maybe even later, like 7th or 8th. He was pretty much a bust, but in these playoffs, he's been doing pretty well for Edmonton, and we'll see what he can do if he gets into the lineup during the finals. We'll see what happens. Edmonton's defense definitely a little rusty, besides Bouchard and Nurse on that back end. I mean, Cody Ceci, he's okay, I'll say. Vinny Desharnais, pretty physical player, really good toughness, which you need in the playoffs, basically. If you don't have any toughness, you won't be able to go far. Example of that, Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, they had Ryan Reeves, and that was pretty much it for them. But Edmonton's defense is pretty solid. But then you go to the Panthers side, you have some people like Aaron Ekblad. I think he's their #1 defenseman. God, I hope he doesn't get injured, though, in this final. But he does have pretty rough injury history. So we'll see what happens with him in these finals, especially to see if he can be an important player. Brandon Montour as well. He's going to be an impactful player as he has been this whole season, regular season and playoffs, and last year's playoff season with the Florida Panthers. It's crazy to believe that 3 years ago when he was on the Buffalo Sabres, he was a pretty mediocre, bottom six, well, maybe bottom pairing defenseman on Sabres. He was on that really rough team back in the 2020-21 season when there was no fans in the stands. But Montour, he got traded to the Florida Panthers, played pretty decent that season he got traded, and then the next year is when the year he just exploded. He became a really good defenseman. And we'll see how he does in these finals on the top pair with Ekblad. Those two forwards are defensemen, my bad, are two defensemen that are going to be really impactful for the Florida Panthers in this series. Nico Mikkola is another defenseman. He's a really tough guy to face off against. He's been a really impactful player with him for the Panthers. I believe he played with Tarasenko back when they played on the Blues and the Rangers, so they basically know each other well. Tarasenko is obviously a forward, while Mikkola is on the back end as a defenseman. Mikkola was that part of that Rangers team that lost to the Devils in round one last year. But he's also been a part of the Blues. Never won the Cup with them, though. He was a little too young then. Actually, a 2015 pick, same draft year as Connor McDavid, who will he be trying to defend in these Stanley Cup finals. I do think Florida may have the better defenseman. I mean, Nurse and Bouchard, don't get me wrong, Bouchard, what a power play quarterback. Maybe one of the best in the league, honestly. But Florida, I mean, you probably think that Montour is the best power play quarterback for them. I do think Bouchard is maybe a little bit better than them, but I do think that Ekblad is a little bit better than Nurse. So those top pair definitely define how they do. But now Edmonton's depth on defensemen, depth. How do I say that word? I don't know why I'm not. I don't know why I'm not pronouncing that right. But their just defensive core is just pretty solidly played. But I just think Florida may just get the advantage here on the back end as they may pushing to win the Stanley Cup Finals. And I mean, you always hear that saying, defense wins championships. So we'll see what this means for both teams. And then we go to goaltending, where Sergei Bobrovsky is versus Stuart Skinner. Skinner, since he's came back from that release from Calvin Pickard when he was playing a few games in the second round, I believe. Once he's got back from that, he's been playing really good hockey, and we'll see how he does in the Stanley Cup Finals, as the guys call him Stu, and he's a pretty solid player, a pretty solid goaltender, I've got to say. I saw some trade talks with Linus Ullmark going to Edmonton this offseason sometime, and I mean, if that happens, Linus Ullmark and Stuart Skinner will be a pretty solid goalie tandem, as Stuart Skinner is a really good goaltender, but so is Sergei Bobrovsky. I mean, you don't want to mess with this guy. He's like a really, really solid goaltender. When you think about a good goaltender, you got to think about Sergei Bobrovsky, man. I mean, he's been one of Florida's best players during these playoffs. I completely forgot about honorable mention about the forwards, Matthew Tkachuk. He's going to be a big piece for them, trying to be the rat. Same thing for Nick Cousins, two rats on Florida's team trying to face off against Edmonton. But going back to goaltending, I do think Florida does get the advantage here. I mean, Bobrovsky, that's just all I gotta say. In the words of Jayon, right? Sergei Bobrovsky. I mean, he's unbelievable, guys. You can't mess with this guy. He's gonna stop the puck for you. At the most, he doesn't seem like he's pressured at all. I mean, in a tie game, last minute, game 7 or something like that, he seems calm. He seems cool, and trying to get the job done for Florida. As they'll try to hoist the cup. And so, anyways, with all the forward talk, defensive talk, and the goaltending talk behind, who do I think will win the Stanley Cup? So, I think this series will go to 6 games. I don't think it will go to 7. I don't think it will go to 5 or 4. I think it will go to 6 games. And the 2024 Stanley Cup champion will be none other than the Edmonton Oilers. I do think that this core will be able to get it done. Hyman, just trying to score. McDavid passing it. And I mean, Stuart Skinner, I did pick Bobrovsky over Skinner. But if Skinner can play almost 80% of how he did last series, I feel like they'll still be fine in this series, honestly. I mean, Bobrovsky, don't get him wrong. He's a generational great goaltender. But I do think Edmonton's going to win the series in 6 games. And obviously, Florida going to have the home advantage. So if Edmonton were to win in game 6, that would be on home ice, which is why I think they'll be able to get it. Although I do think Florida wins game 1, honestly, I feel like they'll be able to get the job done in game 1, which makes people thinking, will they be able to win the series if they won game 1? But I think Edmonton's going to win this series in 6 games. So drop your predictions down below in the comments, and I will be back for SCFR, which will be recaps of the Stanley Cup Finals. I can't wait to get things going, guys. It's been a while since I've done recaps. Last one was when the Growlers were still around. Obviously, the Growlers don't exist anymore. I'm wearing the t-shirt from St. Patrick's Day. But that will be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you do, you can like the video, you can subscribe if you really liked it. We're on the road to 300 subscribers, so you can hit that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. Like it if you haven't. Share this video, share it to your friends. I really appreciate it. All the content videos I got planned for this summer and for next year. We'll see what Drew and I release now, but that is going to wrap up today's video. Hope you enjoyed, and I will talk to you all again once SCFR is back underway.